How's it going, everyone? My name is Ryan Bedwell, student athlete for Winnemac High School, and you're listening to the Winnemac Athletic Podcast.
Welcome to the Winnemac Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Sanders Foods. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at your hometown grocery store. First Federal Savings Bank. They don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Riverside Rentals. Discover canoeing, kayaking, and lazy river tubing right here in Winnemac. Action Plumbing and Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Been serving people since 1994. And now, the voice of the Winnemac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Hello. Welcome to episode 18 of the Winnemac Athletic Podcast, getting you closer and closer to Winnemac Athletics, an inside look to the athletic program, communicating with players, coaches, Winnemac alums. How's it going, everyone? Jay Ruff back in the house today to communicate more about Winnemac Athletics. We are in full swing for the winter sports. Winnemac wrestling and Winnemac boys basketball just started practice yesterday. And of course, girls basketball, they are already 1 week down in this 2024-25 season. 2 games down. This week, they have a game tonight, which we'll talk about, and then they have a game Saturday this week. But before we dig deep into some more winter sports, we have to talk about volleyball for a little bit. They just announced the eighteenth Players of the Year, and of course we have 2 players from our volleyball team making that list. The all-conference eighteenth conference team, Brooke Roush, the junior, making it that team, and it's a fantastic year for her. Congratulations to Brooke Roush. And then honorable mention, the sophomore, Maggie Keller, making that list this year. 2 underclassmen for the Winnemac Warrior volleyball team. Can't wait to see what they do next year on their squad. Congratulations to those 2 girls in the Winnemac volleyball team. So let's do some sports update for this week. The only team that was involved to any activity when it comes to competition, and that would be the girls basketball team. Our Lady Warriors had 2 games. One last week against the Frontier Falcons. That was their very first game. They battled them on our court, and they ended up doing pretty good, outscoring Frontier 54-21. Now, I watched this game. The first quarter was close. It was 7-4. Winnemac was leading, and unfortunately, we couldn't get Coach Stasiak on this week. Very busy, but we will have him on multiple times to discuss this. The first quarter was competitive. They competed 7-4, but I felt like our Warriors didn't unleash the whole thing in that first quarter. And then that second quarter, Coach Stasiak, he does a great job after a timeout or after a quarter, really releasing, how he feels about how they did. I'm sure that's what happened here. Because right in the start of that second quarter in this game, they had 3 steals in a row that led into layups. And then 2 possessions after that, they stole it again, 2 times in a row. So their first 5 possessions for Frontier, we forced a turnover and we stole it. So we outscored Frontier 17-3 in that second quarter. Halftime was 24-7. We didn't look back from there. Again, we outscored them every single quarter, making the final score 54-21. We had 23 steals total in that game. And Frontier, they ran a 1-3-1 almost the whole game. And that just provided us an opportunity to hunt down 3-point shots. We shot 37 3-pointers. That was a good game for us, getting confident with our shot, getting confident with our defense. The Lady Warriors were led by the junior, Candace Croft, and that will probably be something that she does a lot. She led the way with 23 points 5 3-pointers made in this game. She was perfect from the free throw line. She had 4 steals, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Again, she led the way for the Lady Warriors. Right behind her was the sophomore Sadie Popejoy. She had 14 points, 2 3-point shots made, 10 steals. She had a double-double in her second year here as a Lady Warrior in 5 rebounds. Right behind her, someone else who had a double-double in this game, the junior Marissa Iverson. She had 11 points with 11 rebounds, 5 for 9 in the field, and 7 of those rebounds were offensive rebounds. Good for her. Right behind her, Maggie Keller. I mentioned Maggie Keller. She had 0 points. However, she had 6 rebounds. And, if I have to paint a picture for Maggie Keller, she's not the tallest individual on that court. And she had 6 rebounds. Good for her. 3 steals, 1 assist. Sierra Wolford, the senior, 4 points, 2 rebounds. Merche didn't score, but she contributed with 3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. KK O'Connor, 2 points, 4 rebounds for her, and also 3 steals. That was game 1 for the Winamac Warriors. That was Tuesday, and then they went and traveled to Westville to see the Blackhawks on Thursday. A little bit different story in this game, and I'll tell you what, I'm just communicating with some people that were there. Westville's got a team this year. They have a few freshmen that are pretty good, a senior who is going to IUSB next year, and this freshman, Hillary Labus, remember that name, folks, because she can play some basketball. She had, 29 points against us last week, and we ended up falling 57-35. And again, this freshman had 5 threes, 2 assists, and 2 steals, shooting 43% on the field. With this game, it was pretty good half. I think we were only down by 5 points in that first half, but those first 5 minutes for our Lady Warriors, we just dug ourselves a hole. I was told that it was a very packed house there at Westville. If you've been there, it's not the biggest gym, but it was packed. The student section was there. They have a new coach who's done stuff before. He's pretty good. And, they shot 36% as a team, and they got 56 shots off. We shot 33% and only got 38. We had 23 turnovers. They had 17. So there's a lot that we can pick apart on this game. However, this is a very good team. Like I mentioned, that freshman, Hillary Labus, the next game that they had was against Mishawaka Marion. She had 31 points. So she's going to be doing this a lot this year. We were led by Candace Cross for 14 points. She had 3 3-pointers, 3 for 4 in the free throw line, and 4 assists. Popejoy was right behind her. She had 9 points, 2 3-pointers, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Wolford, she had 6 points. Iverson had 3, and KK had 3. So again, it's a good experience with Westville, visiting a hectic environment there. There's our second game. We'll take it. And our next game is home, and that will be against North Newton, 7 p.m. That is tonight. Last year, we defeated them in the first game of the Delphi tournament, 58-19. The last 20 years, our record against North Newton, we are undefeated. We're 8-0. North Newton, they are currently standing 1-1. They beat a 3A team in Calumet 42-26. Then they lost to another 3A school, Lowell, 5-54. So we'll see what our Lady Warriors do at home against the North Newton Spartans. And then we travel on Saturday at Caston, 7 p.m., November 16th. Last year to a regional championship team in Caston. We lost to them 47-33. We have not beaten Caston in about 4 years. That 2019-20 season was the last time we beat them. The last 20 years, though, we battled them. We're 16-4 against them. So it's going to be interesting to see how we answer on Saturday night. They are currently, Caston Commons are currently 0-2, but they're battling, from what I've been told, they're battling through some sickness. They travel to Peru tonight on Friday night, right before we play them. They play North White. They've lost to West Central 25-48, and they've lost to Rochester, a really good Rochester team, 19-44. So we will, of course, have Coach Stasiak on soon to discuss these next two games. And that is the score update on our girls basketball team. We have great conversations with our wrestling squad. Head coach, Coach Colin Day, will be on with us today. And then we will, of course, have a student athlete, senior Ryan Bedwell's joined us. We'll have great conversation with him, with his career as a Winamac Warrior. So super excited about this episode. Up next is Ryan Bedwell, the senior for our Winamac Wrestling Squad. Hey, you're doing it. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
It's time for the Warrior Athlete of the Day. Let's return to the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, really thrilled to welcome a senior for the Winamac Wrestling team, Ryan Bedwell. How's it going, Bedwell? Thanks for joining us today.
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I am not too bad. As a senior, would you please mind sharing with us the array of sports and activities you're currently involved in?
Man, I'm a single sport kind of guy. I'm a wrestler. That's all I am.
Okay, you do. So you do also have some other activities, right? You're about to go to drama.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. You tried cross country for a little bit, right?
Not my thing.
Not your thing. You got hurt, didn't you, on the very first race? Oh boy.
Yep.
And you just put up the white flag right after that, right? Wrestling. I'm stuck on wrestling. That's cool. That's awesome. Let's get real. Well, actually, we can't really get real because I was going to ask you what your favorite sport is. My guess, Bedwell, that it's wrestling. Just a guess.
Pretty good guess, yeah.
Has there always been wrestling? Have you tried other sports?
When I was younger, I used to play basketball, but I just kind of like throwing people around a little bit.
That's football? You ever do football?
I did some football.
Okay.
My dad was the coach.
Huh.
And it just wasn't my thing.
Just what you just like throwing guys to the ground and getting points for it, huh?
Yes.
That sounds fun. So let's switch gears a little bit, Bedwell, talk about your summer activities. With wrestling, I've realized that you guys are quite busy during the summer. What other sports related in with wrestling keeps you busy during the summer months?
Well, during the summer, especially this summer, I really hit up the weightlifting. Hit up the weightlifting, volleyball at the park, swimming. Swimming's really good for your endurance. And then running. I mean, yeah.
Volleyball. You do a little sand volleyball?
Oh, yeah.
Part? That's cool. All right, let's focus on your team, this current team, Bedwell, with some leadership roles from last year opening up. Besides yourself, of course, who do you really see stepping up, Bedwell, putting in the work in the summertime as your view as a leader on this team?
Well, two guys in particular, Talon Garner and Austin Attinger, they were at Fort Wayne constantly over the summer, putting in work at camps, going to tournaments. I mean, if no one else succeeds, it's going to be them.
And they're leaders as well on this team. Well, that's awesome. Great to hear. Let's move on to the question part of the interview, Bedwell. I have 5 questions for you. Not hard, not math. I always pick on math. I had Coach Belcher yelling at me, "Why are you picking on math?" It's just not my subject. But anyways, very easy questions. The first one, who is your favorite actor?
Favorite actor, I'm going to have to go with Kevin James.
Kevin James. Yep. All right. I like that. You don't really hear a lot of Kevin James. Well, that's a good one. Okay. I like it. Who is or who was your favorite teacher? You have this guy as a teacher?
I did.
Okay. So easy.
I enjoy the science classes. Don't get me wrong. Favorite teacher, I'm going to probably have to go with Mr. Shuttrow.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. He was not teaching a class when I was here. It was just, drama and choir. But that's awesome that he's your favorite teacher. Pretty cool. Number 3, your least favorite food. That's always a good one. Your least favorite food you can't touch.
Black licorice. I cannot.
Licorice. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't blame you. It's not a thing that I pick up and buy at stores, but I don't blame you there. All right, this is a good one. What is the hardest practice drill you do in wrestling? The hardest one.
Well, spin around the head drill.
Oh my, that sounds fun.
It's awful. It's
Spinning on the head.
we haven't done it quite yet, but
You save those.
it's pretty grueling.
So you just
So
literally just spin?
yeah, the whole point is to block a shot and spin around. Except you keep spinning around. They'll tell you switch directions. You switch directions,
Oh no.
and it's
Sounds exhausting.
it is.
Awesome. All right, the very classic number 5. Give me one unknown fact, Bedwell, about yourself that not a lot of people know.
Oh, that's a hard one.
It is a hard one. It gets a lot of people. It gets a lot of people. It's a stumper. I might have one for you, which people will probably end up finding out here in a couple hours, that you have a pretty good Irish accent. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay,
That is
there
true.
you go. See, there you go. And you should before we leave, give us a little Irish accent before you leave. Do you have something like that?
Give me a sentence to say, and I'll say it.
Welcome. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Welcome, your listeners, to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Oh, I like it. I like the end there. That's good Irish. There you go. Unknown fact.
There we go.
Learning. Okay, though, that was fun. Let's wrap up about your season goals. Bedwell, you can do some personal ones in there, and also with teams. Overall, team and personal goals for this year.
Well, I'm gonna start off with personal. Past couple seasons, I've just been getting injured left and right. I'd like to completely finish the season out, no injuries, no concussions, no nothing like that.
Love it.
Team goals, I'd like to see all of us go to regionals, the whole team, and I'd like to see us all go to semi-state.
That would be fun. So, with the injury part, make sure you don't run in cross country. Yeah, that's key number 1 right there. So no running day.
Yeah.
Just spin drill all day long. Awesome. You are a senior now.
Yep.
Correct. You're old. Let's talk about any future plans, if you have any so far, for next year.
Next year, I will be attending Valparaiso University.
Let's go.
Study civil engineering.
And just academics, no sports.
No, not for me.
Oh, that's cool. Well, good luck there, Valpo. That's pretty fun. Well, hey, we did it. Well, no big deal. I want to thank you so much for jumping in with us and knocking down those questions, getting to know you a little bit. Do you have any last words or comments before we leave?
I mean, just excited to get the season started with.
Yeah.
Get it started off strong.
Awesome. Well, I wish you best of luck. Don't get hurt. Thank you so much, Bedwell. That was Ryan Bedwell, the senior for the Winamac Wrestling Squad. We'll be right back after a brief word. Hey, you're doing it. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
It's time for the Warrior Coach of the Day. Let's return to the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, we're super thrilled to introduce Mr. Colin Day, the head coach of the Winamac wrestling team. Coach, how's it going?
Good, Justin. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We are in your office.
Yes.
It is very spacious in here.
You could say that. Yeah, it's spacious.
Well, hey, thanks again for joining us today, Coach. Today's episode presents just a fantastic opportunity for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better, your background, your journey leading up to this point, and all those fun details, and of course your squad
Okay.
for this 2024-25 season. But let's start with your background, Coach. Could you please share with us, obviously, the high school you attended, the year, and any hobbies?
Okay, so it was, a long time ago, of course. So I am a proud warrior. I went to school. This is my hometown. I went to school from kindergarten to 12th grade. I wrestled for Coach Vanderay, a Hall of Fame coach. And I went to Ball State, got a teaching degree. I got a wife out of it too, or what? And I had no intention of coming back to Winamac.
Wow.
But here I am, 28 years still. And so now it's kind of fun because I have, just like you, I've had you as a student. I've coached these kids. I'm coaching with people that I coached. So I have a few gray hairs sometimes when I think about that. But it's an interesting perspective, and my roots are deep here. So that's kind of my background in a nutshell.
I love it. And your career journey post-college, it would be great to hear about your current job, which most people already know.
Okay.
But, and then your coaching career, was Winamac your first stop after college, or stuff like that?
Okay. So, yeah. So actually, let me see. It's been a long time ago. So I interviewed all over the place after I graduated, and my dad said, you should apply at Winnemac. And again, I thought, okay, I'll do it. So that's just my only stop. I've only coached here and taught here. So this is my only stop.
So you said 28 years?
I think it's 28. I think it's 28. It goes really fast. It's a lot of fun too. But I got my first stop. So when you're a young teacher, you're asked to coach all kinds of things. And I just tried to kind of like be, kind of like lay back. Coach Roth said, hey, would you help? And I hated turn down coach. But I said, I got to get things going. He said, no problem. And then Coach Vanderay came asking, and he was really probably more persistent. And so I coached with him for 5 years and had a great time. It was neat to be on the other side of wrestling, the coaches, less sprints, of course.
Right.
But it's kind of a different side of things. I also coached middle school track for, oh my gosh, 25 years.
A long time.
Yeah. So, and then since then I've added middle school football, and I was on the varsity staff for a couple years for football, and then of course wrestling. So I've done a lot of different sports here at Winnemac.
That's great. And
yeah.
Were you participating in track when you were in high school?
No, actually no. So I just played football and I wrestled, and by the time wrestling season was over, I didn't have enough mental energy to do the next. I always thought about doing track. I thought it'd be kind of do track. Well, I just helped in the fields instead, did other things. And actually, my first year coaching middle school track, some of the guys, maybe Kevin Murphy helped me out a lot. Do you remember Kevin?
Yeah, I do remember Kevin.
So he kind of taught me some things too, and I just kind of learned along the way. So no, I didn't do track, it's kind of weird coaching a sport you never really did.
Yeah.
You will feel like a fraud at first, but you're looking back, I wish I could have some do-overs, but I got to coach like Shane Crawford and all those guys like that. So it was kind of neat.
Fast, right?
Oh, he's a little bit. Not because of me, actually.
This is an opportunity, Coach.
I know.
You should have seen him in 6th grade.
Well, and I got to work with Chris Caston when he was wrestling in their state, and again, he wasn't there because of me either. I was in the right spot at the right time to help out. So it definitely need to be around sports like at that time.
So you have coached 2 state champions.
Well,
I mean, come on, Coach. Yeah.
Hopefully I put in some aspect, but yes, and they're great guys, and it's neat. Chris's kids are coming through now, and they're in Warpath Wrestling, and
awesome.
and so it's kind of neat to see that generation. I'm glad that I've been here so long that I can see people come up, and it's so neat to see the siblings. It's so neat to see their kids. It's a nice privilege to be able to do that, and I'm glad that I didn't move around that much.
Yeah, and it's just so wild. Just put in reality how long you've been here.
I mean,
goodness,
man, you're making me feel old, Justin.
All right, well, that's awesome, Coach. It's awesome about hearing all that stuff, going back into history. Let's talk about some wrestling. That's okay. We're here, right?
Yep.
This isn't the Colin Day show.
No.
No, I'm joking. No. But no, it's wrestling time, and I tell you, Coach, just looking more into you always know, me being a Winnemac guy, how awesome since I've been here, how good our wrestling team has been.
Yeah.
And me just looking into it more, it just opens my eyes even more. I'm like, wow, this Winnemac wrestling is a really rich program. And I dug some, did some research. I was like, okay, let's see how many conference championships wrestling has. They have 27. Okay. That is most in all sports in Winnemac.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty cool. They had 10 sectional titles overall. That's most in boys sports, second in overall. Yeah. And the girls had 14, girls basketball. And then I was like, okay, well, they have 6 right now conference titles in a row.
Yes.
Which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how is that a record? And I looked, I'm like, how many teams?
9. 9's a record for conference in a row. Because I was on the 10th year, we got beat by West Central when I was a sophomore wrestling.
Oh.
So that one stings.
Oh, boy, so you're that's you're aiming for. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, just this history, Coach, is just outstanding. And I love, just watching it from afar and being just be happy to be like, hey, Winnemac, that's my team, baby. And but just from your view, you being part of this, what does this history mean to you?
Well, it means an incredible amount because starting with my dad. My dad was the first sectional and conference champion for Winnemac, and he was on one of the first teams. My uncle Dennis also on one of the first teams. And so we go a way back, and it's just, we have a lot of great coaches, a lot of great athletes, and we're just kind of standing on the shoulders of what others have done. Every coach has put in and made the program better. And you can't, of course, you can't just lay back on tradition, but we have great parents. We have great support systems. We got a great feeder program, and everybody just keeps coming out. This year we have close to 40 kids out in there. I've never seen that many in a room before at once. And the thing is, and I tell them every day, you've chosen the hardest sport. Maybe swimming's pretty hard, but you've chosen the hardest sport there is to do. And I try to, get somebody to give up here and there, see where their points are at, and they don't, man. They look at me straight on. And I just told them today we were doing some sprints, and nobody quit. Like, it's just kind of ingrained, and then and each class puts into that, and then it's so neat to see even freshmen. I got a lot of freshmen this year, and they're already picking up stuff. And you look over it, and a lot of things make me happy. But one thing that makes me happy is I see some of my wrestlers teaching other wrestlers. And it's just like a brotherhood, because you bleed together, you sweat together. And just like any sport, when you go to battle together, you just kind of mold into one. And when you graduate here, you're part of a really prestigious tradition.
Yeah.
And people come back. They help the coach. Jake Armstrong's in the middle school.
I saw that. I love it.
And they come back and they support the program, and we just keep building. And I just hope that I have one or two pages in the footnotes, but I'm just adding to other coaches and other wrestlers in the program. And we mentioned like Chris Caston, and we mentioned some of the David Minnick, some of like the guys that really set the mark high. But there's a lot of guys in here that are 12-8. That busted their butt in practice and made other guys better. In the end, really, if you think about sports, and a lot of times it's easy to get overhyped with sports and all this stuff, but we're just trying to make good young men and women. And sports like wrestling, any sport, it just teaches that mental discipline, and we so need it. Because I tell them all the time, life is going to roll you. Life is going to be hard at times, and there's good times and there's bad times. And do you have what it takes to get up off your feet and dust yourself off and get back in there? And so, and honestly, I don't care so much about the wins and losses, because those will come, but we're trying to build character, and we're trying to build that person, that warrior. And that's what we're about. And we've had coaches over the years that was their priority, and boy, it shows.
Oh yeah.
Because if you just building for flash, just for like that year, it's not going to last.
Right.
This sustains because the right people have been in the right position, and they put in the program to make it better.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I mean, the coaches here for wrestling really stand out. I personally, honestly did not know Coach Roth was a part of wrestling coaching. I didn't know about that until I interviewed him. Coach Vanderay, Hall of Famer, one of the best. Coach Hook was before you, I believe. Coach Compton, Chad Compton, who was a wrestler.
Coach Burgess.
I mean, just a heck of a lineup of coaches that are just awesome to see. Before we go on to your current team, Coach, let's talk about on the girls' side.
Okay.
The girls' side is starting to
start a club, and we have 4 girls that are going to be dedicated, and they're going to be wrestling this year. There's a couple of that are injured, but we really have a good nucleus for a future program. And girls wrestling, a lot of girls over the years, if they wanted to wrestle, they just had to like wrestle the guys, and it was kind of an unfortunate situation a lot of times. But now they're just wrestling other girls their own. And I convinced her, maybe I said the right things, I don't know, but sons wrestle, and they're learning, and they're going to go have fun and just kind of build that program. So they're kind of forming their own destiny in here. So it's kind of neat to see. It's kind of neat to be part of a new sport, to kind of see where it starts out. And it kind of makes you think about, when, wrestling started in 1970. And you got growing pains and things like that. But I think, and I don't think that it'll take away from basketball. The girls that were wrestling now were playing basketball. And in a small school, you also have to share athletes too. But, and I think that, it's a great opportunity for girls to improve themselves too.
I absolutely
Yep.
love it, Coach. Mr. Leverins mentioned that, and I was super happy to
Yep.
hear that.
Yep.
There's another sport coming in the Winnemac. It's just awesome things. And let's talk about your current squad, Coach.
Okay.
I know you lost a lot of years last year. Willis Dennis being one of them who advanced to semi-state. Let's talk about your current team. Who all is in your squad, and what all you're excited about for this upcoming year?
Okay, so let me see if I have a roster here because I have a lot of guys here.
I know
I'm gonna forget.
you said like 40.
Yeah, just about. So, so I could talk with a senior. So we only lost really about 4 seniors last year, and we have 3 seniors right now. So we have a lot of juniors and a lot of sophomores. We're actually pretty young still, which is kind of scary.
You were young last year too.
We're a little bit, yeah, a little bit. I'll just go down the line here. So Austin Anager, the senior, 2-time semi-state qualifier, and just kind of a quiet leader, real technical. He's going to have he's poised for a good year. Of course, we talked to Ryan well. We got Eden Broker, a freshman. Let's kind of go into the lineup here. He's at 106, which is nice to have a couple guys at 106. Ivan Cardenas, probably going to break into the lineup at some point. Charles Cottrell, he's been around. I feel like Charles has been around for like 8 years. But he's a junior.
COVID year.
No, well, I don't. Maybe no. He's improved a lot. We bring in like Franklin Crawford and Josh Crawford, Lyle Day, of course DJ Depke. He's worked out and he's got himself bigger, and he's done some wrestling too, and got some good experience there. Talon Garner, of course. I didn't think Talon could get any stronger, but he has. So
love it.
He, actually kind of a funny story. So sometimes it's kind of hard to find partners for him because he goes 100 miles an hour. So I said, well, I'll wrestle you. And he said, oh, no, I won't wrestle you. I was like, no. You would hurt me. You don't need to worry about that.
Oh, did you beat him?
Well, I'll tell you what, I have nothing to prove anymore, and I don't want to hurt him. So I just let him work his stuff. And I just kind of played along with it. But Aaron Harden joins this year, a good football career. Jacob Hodder coming in to help out. Cameron Hilton, one of our smaller guys, looking real good as a freshman. Corbin Holohan, Howard C., Jason Jenkins. Those are new guys here coming in to kind of fill in. Asher Jones had a kind of a funny story last year. Talk about not give up. So Asher in preseason he broke his hand. And so he proceeded to come every day to practice, do what he could medically do. And then at the end of the season, we had an injury, and then he wrestled up, and in wrestle-off, he actually beat Willis in a wrestle-off, and Willis went up, and Asher got in there, and we had to have a special waiver, but he got in. He got third at conference. That was his first match, and then he went to regional as a freshman, and he's done a lot of camps, and I just that's what I'm talking about. Like, they don't give up, they don't quit. And no matter what, and that I love that.
And that was with a broken
hand. And he came back, was cleared, and he got right in the line. Cooper Kavka has been around. I said it forever too. Cooper does anything I ask. If I said I want to wrestle the 500-pound guy, which doesn't really exist, he would do it. A great kid. Walker Lovely, a lot of preseason stuff. A freshman, really a good learner. You can tell he is soaking in. Xavier Osborne, Caleb Pace, Broderick Reederboom, Taco, Tyler Rittenauer is going to help us out this year. They have nicknames around here. I'm not sure what mine is. Okay. Ryan Shell had a good season last year as a freshman.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know what it is. We just, it seems that we get younger every year, but we get better. And I don't know what
it's coaching, I think.
Well, you can play that. Michael Scheidler. He came out last year and wasn't able to wrestle, but he's looking good too. Waden Siatek as another freshman. We got a lot of good freshmen coming in here. Hayden Taylor, we're ready to kind of poised to break into the lineup. He's looking good. Ryan Vollmer came back and kind of working in there. Hunter Wade, he'll work into a lineup too. And then of course Tirsa Wolford as well had a good freshman season. And so as I look through my roster here, there's a lot of FRSO, freshman, sophomore in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just exciting. And it's come out, and I'll tell you, as the season goes on, they realize that I don't care who they're wrestling. I don't care where they're from. And it doesn't matter that they're a freshman, senior, junior, sophomore. And it's so fun to go out to watch them not care.
Mhm.
They go out and they compete. And it takes a while to kind of beat it into their heads, so to speak, but that's a competitor. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what they're wearing, what color shirt it is, or whatever. That's the aspect that we're trying to get after every year.
Absolutely. I love it. It's funny, Coach, you said, every year you get these freshmen that come in. And I truly believe, just me being a coach and like as an assistant coach, the big part of that is your summer activities and your feeder program. And you do those amazingly, I feel like. Just me doing some looking at your Facebook page and seeing your summer schedule. I mean, that thing is loaded. It is loaded with camps. It's loaded with events that you go and attend and weightlifting.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you guys doing during the summer. Can you talk about that a little bit, your summer activity?
Well, usually what I like to do, wrestling is a pretty mentally draining sport. So I don't try to harass them too bad. But, and what I like to do is I like to see them compete in other things. I like to see them in soccer and cross country and football.
Mm-hmm.
And we lift weights and we just give some opportunities. We don't try to bear down too much because, my gosh, they're still kids,
right,
and they got to have a summer on that. But we provide a lot of opportunities, and more kids, more and more guys are understanding that if you can pick up some more technical during the summer, you're going to be just that much better.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that wrestle year round, and that if that's your thing, I guess go for it. But
right,
that takes a commitment that I don't know that I've ever reached a commitment like that.
right.
But here at Winamac, we are who we are. There's bigger wrestling teams and more intense stuff. There's some guys that wrestle across the United States, Fargo, and all this stuff. But they know that you get out what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
And more guys are doing camps. They're doing like the clinics. They're doing some events, some one-off events. In our summer, we come in, we just kind of hang out a little bit. We do a little bit of free wrestling. I don't really drill that much. We just kind of get together, and it's kind of like, getting together like a band, like kind of jamming together. It's just it's low key.
Right.
And I think, for us, that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And, seeing the younger guys looking up to these upperclassmen, I know Gardner, I see him doing camps all the time.
Yeah.
And you see those younger guys jumping on with him. Absolutely love that. Let's go over your fundraisers, Coach. Any fundraisers that you might have, and also any camps that you currently have. I think you have a camp right now for little kids. My nephew's in one. He's like 4 years old, and he's on the mat out there. Absolutely love that.
So we're at camp. So we do kind of a fun camp. We do it in conjunction with football and basketball, and it's a free camp, and it's just about learning some rules, having some fun. It's in May,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course we have workout. Work path starts in November, and that's for kindergarten through even middle school. Actually, and that program I said Justin Jordan and David Middix, they earn their money. We have about probably 40 to 50 people in work path in different ages. It's just fun to watch, and so that's for a pay camp, but we offer scholarships for that too. So, and if you want to run a hole, we'll make it happen.
That's all. And you've been doing more camp for a little while right now.
Well, Mr. Cody Hook started.
Okay.
That, and we're just kind of continuing that, and that's a real rich tradition even already.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in previous years we had different kid camps, and this one has sustained itself because it was organized really well. And that's Mr. Hook's, that his touch on this was his organization really
love it.
Updated a lot of things.
I mean, like I said, the reason why you're getting, freshmen coming in that are pretty, up there, good, and sophomores is because stuff like this, the feeder program.
And you get, so this is unique. It's kind of like track in a way too, because there's an individual and there's a team component. And so it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. If you win that spot, you're the guy that goes. And that's how that goes. And then, of course, as the season goes on, it turns a little more individual. So it's have a team and a single blended together.
Love it. Love it. Well, that's fantastic, Coach. Let's move on and dive into your goals for 2024. Last season, you, of course, made conference champion 6 years in a
Yep.
row.
Yep.
We're on two hands now.
Okay.
And, you're counting. That's absolutely fantastic. What are your goals? I mean, this is a brand new year. So what are your goals heading into this 2024-25 season?
So it's been a couple of years since we've hosted our own Super 8 trophy, and our intention is to hoist it again.
Yeah.
And so it's time. We usually bat it back and forth between West Central and Winamac, it seems like. But we'll start with that. Also, we have some other tournaments we want to win, but conference is important to us for sure, and we want to continue with that. We got North Miami will be a tough team in there, and so we're going to be ready. There's nothing's promised to us. You don't just walk in the door and hand it a trophy. So, and they know that. Sectional last year, we got moved to a sectional, the Plymouth sectional, a harder sectional actually, and got fourth out of that.
Yeah.
And we were happy with that last year, but this year our goal is to try to win the sectional, and it won't be easy. Rochester's a great school, wrestling school in there. Plymouth is always dangerous. Warsaw is always good. So we'll have to be ready. So another team goal is to try to advance our position, but try to win that sectional, because it's been a while since we had a sectional. It's been too long.
Yes.
And of course we want to move as many as we can in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I looked. The last sectional was 2007, and that was David Minix's Hall of Famer, his junior year, I believe.
Yep.
Might have been a sophomore year. Long time.
Yep.
Long time.
Yep.
So, but it's just wild to me that it's been that long, because you guys have just been having really good seasons all the time. But hey, Coach, I can't thank you enough for joining me on this show today. Great conversations about, just the history of Winamac wrestling and insights of your life. I can't thank you enough. Do you have, Coach, any last words or comments?
Oh man, that's pressure here. I would just say, if you haven't caught Winamac wrestling, you need to come to a meet. We have our first meet is against Rochester, and there's no tune-up game. We're right into the Lion's Den, and so it's exciting to watch. Also, if you really want a real entertaining match, our wrestling on the stage is an unforgettable experience.
Awesome.
It's cool. Nobody's got thrown off stage yet. Come see us in action. You'll be impressed. You'll be impressed.
That's awesome, and that's always a fun thing. That day in the auditorium is January 9th.
Correct.
Of course, we will talk about that on the podcast. And then, like you mentioned, Coach, your first meet is home against Rochester, November 26th.
Correct.
I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for this polo.
Nope.
I'm gonna look good. I look good in maroon, but I love the wrestling.
Hey, we have more class than a t-shirt. So
hey, Coach, I can't thank you enough. That was Colin, the head coach for the Winamac wrestling team. Stay tuned, because of course that will not be the last time you hear from him on this show. We will have him on many times to talk about his squad throughout the year. So after a brief word, we'll be right back. Hey, you're doing it. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by First Federal Savings Bank. They don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Sanders Foods. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at your hometown grocery store. Riverside Rentals. Enjoy canoeing, kayaking, and lazy river tubing right here in Winamac. Action Plumbing and Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Been serving people since 1994. We would like to thank our sponsors for sponsoring today's show and being part of the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe.